1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give Danny another minute.
Hey, this message says the content of the meeting is being sent to a third party. Is that WRPS?
Yeah.
That Sherry, that's us, and we send it to YouTube, so we don't upload it the next day. So
Got it.
good luck, guys. Have a good evening. Talk to
Chris,
you.
nice talking to you. You take care of yourself.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Chris.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Okay, well, Dan's not like, no, there he's not. Okay, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the Rockland Board of Sewer Superintendents. Sewer Commissioners. This meeting is being taped for broadcast later on YouTube. The items on the agenda are those anticipated by the chair, and other items not anticipated may be spoken about to the part permissible by law. With that, I'll take a motion on tonight's meeting.
motion to open?
I'll second that. All in favor? Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Mr. Hessian is a yes. That is a quorum. We do not have, Robin, do we have minutes? No, we do not have minutes from last week, the last couple of months.
Nope.
No.
Abatements. Do we have any abatements?
No.
No abatements. Any drain layers?
I have one drain layer and it's DS Benoit. It's a renewal. They supplied all the correct paperwork and they paid the fee.
All right. I will make a motion to approve JS Benoit as a drain layer in Rockland. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss? He's still connecting. Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Mr. Hessian is a yes. That's a majority. That's a quorum. Drain layer is accepted. Administrative update. Robin, you're on. All the time you need.
Okay, thank you so much. I just have a few things and some of them might come up later, so just cut me off if they do. The first one is there was an AMP grant to update the GIS. We had a correspondence from David Taylor. It was just today, so I don't know if any of you had a chance to even look at that.
We're going to be talking about that later.
Okay, perfect. The next one that I think fell off the radar was from March 12th, also from David Taylor, I think. It was about East Water Street requiring a fence, West Water requiring head walls, and Hingham Street requiring head walls.
I'm aware of, I think we're all aware of East Water Street. Not aware of Ham Street. But Mike, do you have any conversations on that? Mike Buckley?
Yeah, Chuck, I don't believe that's considered that's not one of the top 3 on the list.
Okay, but you may want to reach out to Dave and get the status on that if you would tomorrow.
Okay, again, Robin, could you say that one more time, please?
Yep, it's in an email from David Taylor to Rockland Sewer on Monday, March 11th. And I forwarded to everyone on March 12th because I must have, checked out that day. So it's East Water fence, West Water head walls, and Hingham Street head walls. I think that comes under drainage. That's why he must have been telling us about it.
Yeah.
East Water Street.
East Water Street is the one we looked at with the
Yep.
sinkhole. Don't have
And what was the other one?
East Water was a fence, West Water was head walls, and Hingham Street was head walls.
Yeah, Mike, if you could look into that tomorrow.
And then the French Road we're going to talk about later, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then I wanted to let you know, so Permitize is the software that the town uses for us to approve building permits and also business certificates. So people that open up a business in town. So I received one for a business certificate in error. And when I started looking through it, I had a conversation with Liza and I thought we probably should be approving those because it gives us a chance to look up their outstanding sewer amount that's due and before we approve them. So they added us to the approval list. And as I get them, I'm looking them up to see if they owe us any money. And if they owe us money, I'm kind of putting it on hold for the approval. And we actually have one that's on hold right now for like $700 on the sewer account.
Robin, what did you say we're approving?
So business certificates. So I just look up their sewer account And if they owe us any money, I don't approve the business certificate. We were never involved in that. But when I received one in error and thought about it, I spoke to Liza and she said that's probably a good idea. So she's been sending them to me, and as long as they don't owe any sewer, I've been approving them. And there was one out of the bunch that they actually owed us money, so they're pending until they pay their sewer bill.
Is there, in this software, there's a special spot for sewer approval?
Yeah, it's the same software that we've been using all along for building permits.
Okay,
There's a section that the clerk's office uses for business certificates. We've
Yeah.
mostly been just approving the building permits when they come through.
interesting. Okay.
Maybe we can go over that at our next in-person working session quickly.
Yeah, let's.
All right. I also have an outstanding from Allison Quinn that I never got back to her on. And she was asking me, do I know how many sewer connections have been made since the moratorium has been in effect? And she wants to know if we keep a list of those projects that have connected to sewer. And I know that Sherry has been keeping that list.
She's
So,
got she has the most up-to-date list that we have. I mean, that's published.
I have a wait list, March 19th.
So is that, did I post the March 19th one on the website?
That's the question. Let me send it to you and we'll make sure that
Okay.
gets done.
All right. And then I can direct her there to look at it. The other question is, have we approved any connections since the moratorium has been in effect?
The only connections that were approved were prior to, and that was 365, Primrose, the brewery, Dyer Street. Notice I got that correct. And that was it.
And there
After
were
that, we
items that,
approved- After that, we approved 320 Concord Street and Manzella. That has been it.
and then the low flow accounts,
And yeah, low
like,
flows.
like 1 bedroom
No.
stuff.
Right. People who had already paid their betterment fee and had a step.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so the last one I have was March 19th, 53 Airport Drive.
That's been approved, but
Yeah.
that's a reduction. That's
Right. So
But that's
So
the last
50
one that came before us that I know of.
53 Airport Drive was a reduction, but we had a request out there for them to install a clean out. And I remember seeing a correspondence from them that they have a manhole that operates as a clean out. So they wanted to not move forward and add another clean out because that would suffice.
Yeah,
Are you in
I
agreement?
took a drive up there. That's fine. That is fine. We can waive that.
Okay. So waive the requirement for the clean out.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so then I have a note here to share the folder with Mike for the IPP. We were struggling with that for a minute on the shared drive.
Okay.
But I do know that Michael added 4 dentists. There's possibly a 5th dentist. I don't know, Michael, if this one was included, but it's the old Dunkin' Donuts on Union Street. It looks like it's a new dental office. I don't know if it's one of the other 4 that moved to that location or if it's brand new. Do you happen to know?
No, I don't.
So you might want to check that one out. It's right next to the banner. It used to be a Dunkin' Donuts on Union Street.
It's right around the corner on East Water Street, Mike. Right at the lights.
Yep, right at the light. It says dental office.
And it's near East Water, is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah, right on the corner of East Water. So the location that's on hold waiting to get paid was 77 Howard Street, and that came up because of the business certificates.
So would dentists be part of that or no?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would these dentists be part of that or no?
They already have established business certificates. It's only new ones that I would get. It's too late for them. They've already been approved.
Yep.
And we were never really approving those. So this seemed like an opportunity. That's why I did it.
Great
Um,
opportunity.
So the senior discount, the next steps,
Wait a
I'm
minute,
gonna,
let's talk about that in fees. We're gonna
Hold
put-
on.
oh, all right. All right. So, oh, we already cleared that one. That seems okay. No clean out. So I have a quote here from John Hoadley Plumbing and Heating, and it's to install 3 flow meters around town. Are we going to talk about that later?
Install
Yes.
what?
3 flow meters,
How much is it for?
24,387. It's,
what
I
is
got it
that-
from Rick.
What is that regard from? Where are they going?
We don't know. Rick, do you want to speak to that for a second?
Yeah, sure, Robin. So that was actually one of the bids for the effluent mag meters.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We
for the
ended-
effluent mag meters.
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Okay, now I know who we are.
All right. Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Okay, so the RFP, I think you're going to talk about that later.
Yes.
The collection system O&M plan. So we
We'll talk about
requested,
that later. I'm gonna talk about that later.
okay, good. And the extension of time will be part of that. We're talking about 831 Hingham Street later as well.
Yes, we are. That's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Michael Buckley sent us a correspondence about a construction of the PFAS facility. There's one at Myers Ave and one at Hannigan. I don't know if, do we need to do anything with that, or is that just an FYI, Mike?
That's not on the agenda.
Yeah, Robin, I'm sorry, could you say that again? I didn't hear that.
You sent us an email about Rockland Water building the construction of a PFAS facility. They're actually building 2 of them, one at Myers Ave and one at Hannigan. And I was wondering, was that just an FYI?
Yeah, it was just an FYI.
Okay,
So we were down in that area because they wanted us to do a dig safe. We were out there when we were by Hingham Street. I was with Gary and Christian, and we were over there, and we just saw they had broken ground for the new PFAS facility.
Okay, that's water. That's not on
That's
our.
water, yeah.
so the year 3 INI annual INI and O&M
That's on the-
program.
That's on the agenda for a little while.
I have one quick question about that. What
Sure.
account are we charging this against?
Can we talk about that when we get there?
All right. And then the sewer generator, we haven't heard about that for a while, but Wright Pierce is in the process of developing the construction.
Yep, that's on the
Documents.
agenda. That's on the agenda for later.
All righty. And then there was an issue with the backup for the town computer that Veolia uses to back up the files. And I
Yeah.
wondered if you had an update on that, Rick, if that actually happened, or do I need to follow up with Gino?
I believe it's all set. I know Gino, he had me sign on to the computer and I know he was updating it. But if you want, you might want to just reach out to him.
Okay.
Gino will be out all next week, so.
All right. The next one is 495 Union Street. So we're expecting them to clarify where their current sewer line runs because it's not, we don't have an as-built for it. Do we know, indicate the cleanouts on the drawing? Did we get anything on that?
I haven't seen anything.
I think this is from Mike. Mike, did you receive anything on 495 Union Street?
Hold on a second. 495 Union Street.
That's the one where they were doing the construction out back, a house.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yes. I have the as-built drawings, but I don't think. So this one right here
They're on
was,
wait a minute, they're on septic.
are they?
You told me
So-
they're on septic.
Oh, so
Yeah.
then, so they're not gonna supply any of this stuff because they won't have it.
Mike, did you say they were on septic?
I'm looking at the drawings right now. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think well, according to the Union Street, you said 495, 495?
Yes,
All right, 495. I got 496.
That's it.
That-
That's probably it because it looks like it's Kevin McGee and he has,
Yeah,
he's trying to
just
split the lot.
It is McGee.
Yeah, so the attached street map does not show 495 Union Street. We don't have as-built drawings for the property.
But didn't
Is
you? say
that because they're-
You looked at, didn't you say they had septic?
I believe so.
Okay, you're gonna have to double check that because we need to know for sure. I thought my notes said you, stated they were on septic back there. Because there is an existing house. And he was gonna
Alright,
build
so-
another one back there.
Because if they're on septic, then we won't be getting anything on the existing structure. We'll just be getting it on the proposed structure.
Yeah.
Okay,
What are they adding there?
I think they're just gonna be adding it, two-family. I'm
Oh,
not
it's-
sure. I gotta look at the drawing again. I know it was, I think it was a multifamily. But I believe it is septic. I'll double check mine. Mike, and you could double check that tomorrow.
all right, so just an update on 365 Concord. I think we're done entirely with that project. Everybody's been tied into sewer. I don't know, one of you must have inspected it because they're all tied in. And I worked with water to get them onto Dab National so I can build them.
Yeah, Pat Brennan inspected that. I was hoping to take Mike with him, but he beat us to it. I think a couple of those units are sold. I'm not sure. But we have not seen any flow from that yet.
Right. But they're all set though, once
Yep.
they start the flow.
Matter of fact, I may take a run by there tomorrow, talk to him.
Yeah, actually 495, it is, I'm gonna double check, but I'm pretty sure it is on septic.
Okay, we're at 365. Okay, but
Yeah.
okay, so it's 395 septic. Tomorrow I'll take a stroll by
So that triggers another question, Chuck. If they're on septic and they're proposing to build a two-family at 496 Union, there's probably no stub if he's splitting the lot, I'm gonna assume. That means if the sewer's not available, they're gonna have to go on septic? And
Yep.
it's a two-family that we wouldn't be probably approving anyway. They'd have to go on the list, right?
uh
How many bedrooms?
yeah, it's a bedrooms. If he was under 2 bedrooms each, he could do it. But no, we haven't seen it. He hasn't approached us. We haven't seen any plans. Like I said, when Mike and I were looking at it, I'm pretty sure we found out they were on septic. The existing property is on septic. There is no stub there.
Right, so that means there's no stub for 496 when they split the lot.
Yep.
All right. South Weymouth Naval Air Station, I think you're gonna address that later.
Yep, I'm gonna address that later.
All right, and I have something here about the Spruce Street Pump Station. Are we all done with that?
We're gonna talk about that later.
Oh, okay. And then I came across the manholes and I started to think, so we ordered the manholes, they're all in stock. But then I wondered, did we order enough to match what Pat Brennan and Gary inspected that's gonna be replaced in the spring? I thought maybe somebody should take a quick look at that.
I think those were the manholes that were in question that were ordered.
Oh, okay, and they were ordered specifically for that?
Yep,
Okay,
and a
good,
couple extras.
okay. Thank
So
you,
that means we have locations for those to go to.
right.
And we have a few extras.
Do these
Okay.
have anything to do with Center Avenue manholes?
Center
No.
Avenue, some of them, yes, but they mostly state they're a different configuration.
But the ones that we just ordered, are they?
Some of them are for that, yes. I think Pat, no, these, the ones that we ordered were for beach. I think some of them may be for Center Street. Mike can check on that tomorrow.
Right, well, were any of them locking manholes?
Yes,
Those are for center.
Yep.
Lucky manholes are for state.
We should probably come up with a way to inventory those because they're gonna be disappearing.
Yeah, we need a tracking sheet.
Funding opportunities, I think we're going to talk about that later.
What's that?
Funding opportunities, sometimes called earmark.
Yeah, I got that.
All right. And then, so the plant heating system, there was a grant opportunity for that back in February. I wondered if anything came of that. Do you know about that, Rick?
I know Mike received an email because I was CC'd on it, but I'm not sure if Mike, if you got back to him or not.
Yeah, that was, let me see, that was from National Grid.
Green Community.
Not, yeah, it was from, no, it was from National Grid that sent us the information.
Correct.
Right. So this was Patrick. I haven't got back to him yet. He gave us, I had been talking with Sherry about this. He gave us, Sherry, this was the one that you got when you came in today, you got the quote on.
I'm looking at it, yeah.
Yep, it's for, the net cost is $199,592.
Right. But, and that was the question, is if there's any grant money to pay for this.
Yeah, I'll have to follow up with him about that.
So the cost of the heating system is $99,592.
Yes.
Yes, that's what net's a net cost.
Well, that's,
All right. But we don't know if we applied for the
Well,
grant money yet.
yeah, and this has a notation of an incentive, and I would like to know what that means, where that comes from, how that figures into the cost. I think this needs, yeah, this needs further discussion. Can we put this on a working session next week?
Let me set a separate sheet here. Okay, working
U-
session items,
utility
I have, okay,
center?
wait a minute, working sessions, I have, to review the permit software. And now is the National Grid grant.
Yep,
Um,
it's for
call
the
it-
plant heating
call-
system.
Yeah, call it rooftop heating. Please.
Okay, we'll do. Got it.
Getting near the end. So we were having a discussion about cammering the sewer lines when conveying property to a new owner. Are we still working on that, or?
Yes, I've got questions on that with Bob Galvin.
So we're waiting on him.
Yeah, and just to let you know, I do have the confirmation email from Deborah that the 495 Union Street is definitely on septic.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So 216 Pleasant Street is Rad Sports on VFW Parkway. They demolished a dental office building on their property and they had the sewer cut and capped at the time.
Mhm.
And now they would like to construct a warehouse on that location with bathrooms and sinks. Do we have anything new on that project?
Nope, they have to
Nope.
submit drawings and all that, and we'll take a look at them.
We have drawings?
No,
Did we request drawings or anything?
yes, we did.
Oh, okay. There's so many projects, it's hard to keep track of.
No, tell me about
That's
it.
why you have that magic notebook.
Magic. 437 East Water is a 3-bedroom single family going up for sale. And the Board of Health is requiring the sellers to connect to sewer, and there is a stub and a betterment.
Okay, wait a minute, 437 what?
437 East Water.
Yep.
I did advise them to use a licensed drain layer and that they would need a permit from the sewer department. I haven't heard anything back on 437 East Water. Has anyone else?
No, I have not.
Okay, so 424.
How many bedrooms?
3. And they had paid their betterment and they have a stub. What they were trying to do was defer the hookup until after the sale and put the burden on the buyer to connect. So that gets worked
I
out with the
remember
board.
that. Yep,
That
I
gets
remember.
worked out with the Board of Health because then they hold some of the proceeds from the sale for the connection.
I remember that.
Yeah, all right.
So they
And then
paid- Yeah, so Robin, 437, 3 bedrooms, they paid for the betterment, and what else did you say?
They have
they have a stub.
they're good to go once they put the permit in.
Yeah, we just haven't heard anything from them yet. And I think my last question is the tertiary upgrade. Did we decide to definitely go with the clarifier and aerator instead?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be discussing that later, but that's dead.
All right, and then let me just see if I had anything else. I had
We
notes.
have
in-
the administrative assistant.
Um, so the business certificates, I spoke about the public records requests. And do we have any update on the part-time position?
That's what I'm going to.
I reached out, so Robin came across a candidate and they have applied, and I think I may have just received their information. I reached out to Eileen in HR and asked her to contact all the applicants and tell them that we will be reviewing their applications in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, I'd like to really push that as quick as we can.
All right. I can provide copies of their resumes so that the commissioners can look at it in advance, if you like,
Okay.
and we can put it on the next agenda
Okay.
to discuss. I think we have 3 eligible candidates.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't write that fast. All right. And that was it for me.
Robin,
Yes.
one last thing, Robin. I was looking around for that email you were talking about that you sent to Dave. Could you send that to me again, please?
Can you remind me what subject that was?
That was on the 16th. The
No,
email
this
was
was what you said, March 11th.
that you
This was,
sent out the 12th on Eastwater, the head walls.
yeah, the head walls, right. You said it was sent on March 11th.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I actually sent it to you on March 12th. And it was a forward and it said town fence.
Okay. It came from Rockland Sewer?
Yep.
Okay, if that's out, let's move on. You all done with that, Robin?
I am. Thank you so much.
Because now you take a deep breath and let's go on to fees.
Oh, fees. Okay.
We voted on the senior discount, correct?
Yes.
The question is that we have before us. I want to go in, had a discussion with Weston Sampson on the rate study. In light of the fact that we're switching direction from the tertiary phosphorus to the clarifies and aerators. And they feel that there's enough built in there to cover that. So at this time, we are not I don't think we are looking at another rate increase beyond the 10%.
We need to increase it at least 14% to cover the operating budget.
Then you must have had other conversations with them.
I have not talked to Weston Sampson. I'm just looking at the increase from last year to this year.
When I spoke to them about that, he felt we had enough to cover that. So you may want to touch base and or Kim this week or next week.
Okay.
I had spoken with Frank and he feels that 10% is sufficient to cover that interest. Because it was calculated in.
So we would,
The interest was, but the overall budget increase of 14% probably was not.
No,
you-
we didn't know. He said, when I mentioned the going up to the 14%, he said that wasn't necessary at this time. So with where it's financed, Sherry, I'll let you tweak that and
I
get
will
back
talk
to
to
us.
him.
And
I
I'm
just
gonna
have one question about that I would like to clarify. Is he basing that on the calendar year or the fiscal year? Because
Fiscal year.
Okay, good.
So he thinks 10% is adequate.
That's what he felt. So you may want to touch base. That's gonna be the last thing I put on for the next working session.
Yep.
Now we have the permit, software, National Grid rooftop heating system. Talk about the administrative assistant and the rate increase. That should book that meeting.
So it's 10%?
Okay,
So-
so
So,
go ahead.
all right, now let me dig into it. I'm not sure what my question is. Okay,
Okay, so we voted the senior discount. I think the next thing we need to vote on is the quarterly basic user fee. We did not vote on that.
I'm sorry, what was that, Chuck?
We voted to approve the senior discount.
Yep.
But did we also vote, or yes, we did. We voted to go up on that to $18, didn't we?
No,
No,
you did not vote on that day. You only approved the senior discount. We talked about it, but you didn't vote on it.
correct.
Okay. Well, I think we should move to increase that to the $18, to be honest with you, to cover our rates. But Sherry, do you want to wait and ask that question at the same time with Frank?
Yeah, let me,
And we
Yes.
can vote on that next Tuesday.
yes. Yes,
Okay.
I would like to do that.
Okay,
So that's,
All right, so Sherry's gonna follow up with Frank.
Yep.
yes. And that's to
I'll
increase,
send you the email correspondence that I had with him regarding, him saying.
Okay.
Christian.
So that's $18. That's for the,
basic user fee.
Basic user fee. Robin, Sherry's gonna follow up on that. So what we'll do is we'll discuss that, and I want to put that on the agenda for the May meeting.
Yeah, my question is if he is even aware of that.
He was
Frank?
aware of the $10 basic user fee, but if we go to the $18, Sherry, I don't know if you have it written down, but it generates $183,000.
Yes,
I got-
correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, but we don't know if he's aware of a potential increase.
No, I mentioned it to him. I did not tell him we voted on it. I did mention it to him, we're looking at the quarterly fee increase.
Okay,
So I will slip that to you as well.
that might, be enough. I don't know if he's factored that into his. All right,
Okay, Veolia contract status in the RFP. Our operations contract with Veolia expires July 1. I had informed Veolia that it was our intention to go out to bid because we felt what they came back initially was too high. I've had a couple meetings. Mike was present at both of them, as was Rick. Right now, there is a tentative agreement, not an offer. Let's put it that way. There is an offer being reviewed by both Veolia Council and our council. There is a lot of intangibles that we have to consider, that once I get the okay to discuss the numbers with you. I think you've seen the numbers in an email that John Cliff had sent previously. That, sure, you were going on vacation. But those are the numbers we're talking about. Rick is also aware of those, but I can't disclose them publicly right now. But as it stands now, until that document is signed, the intention is still to go out to bid. The document's prepared. Once council sends me the document back, I can share it with you guys. We could look at it, discuss it, and then decide the course of action from there.
All right, so do I have this correct? We have a tentative agreement being
No, we
revised.
don't have a tentative agreement. We have an offer.
Oh, a tentative offer is being reviewed with legal,
It's being reviewed by legal right now.
and the intent is to still go out to bid until the tentative agreement is reached, one or the other.
Correct.
Okay, so one or the other.
I'm gonna give you time to catch up.
Thanks.
That's okay, because I want kudos that I'm following the agenda.
You know what? I was just thinking that.
No,
Me
you weren't. Yeah,
too.
I want.
I'm impressed. Thank
Me
you.
too. Let me give you a gold star, Chuck.
I won.
So I don't even know what the next subject, what OM and M stands for.
That is the extension for the thing. The
Okay.
operations maintenance manual. Part of the NIPD's permit is on March 30th, that's every year, 30 days of September, April, June, and November. No, March 31st of every year. If we are above 80% of our permit flow, for the calendar year, we've got to submit some paperwork. And part of that, we have to submit a report of what we're going to do to lower that flow. Now, Rick and I have talked, we haven't, I think the last time the plant was below 2.5 is when Dan was in diapers. But
That's a long time.
well, it depends. But anyway, we haven't. So part of the original permit application stated that we had to supply an OM&M manual. In 2022, we received a quote. Dave Taylor received a quote for that, and it never went anywhere, June of 22. Keith inadvertently told them back in 21 that he submitted it to the EPA, which never happened because we didn't have one. I contacted both Mass DEP and the EPA and explained the situation to them, and we've been very good at living up to our words. I had asked for an extension. I said, if we could locate the manual, I asked for a 6-month extension. If we can locate the manual, we could drop that extension down to 3 months. So we clean it up and send it to them. Now, where we do not have that manual, I asked for a bid from Weston Sampson to prepare that manual, which we have to have anyway for permit compliance. Whether, it just has to exist. I received the quote. It's for $25,000. That manual has to be written. The proposal is down with Chris Kenny today being reviewed. I strongly advise the board, the second that comes back, we sign it. Once that is signed, I can contact them and say, okay, here is the signed scope of work to prepare that manual, and they will grant us the 6-month extension. And
How
that
much
manual should only take about 6 to 8 weeks to complete.
How much was that, Chuck? For the
25,000. The quote in 2022 pre-COVID was 17.5, 17.8.
Was that quote previously from Wright Pierce or Weston and
Yeah,
Sampson?
it was from Wright Pierce. But their fees went up, and where the O&M is really focused on the collection system since 2021, 2022.
Oh, and that's
Yeah.
where
Wright Pierce is Weston Sampson's been
Weston and
doing
Sampson,
collection work. I just think they have a more thorough knowledge, and it would be more expeditious for them to conduct that. So hopefully we will have that while I have it. Matter of fact, I think I had Robin send that out to you guys today for review.
I don't know if I did that. I printed
No,
3
no,
copies.
they
and put
probably
them
sent it in
table.
late. I was running around pretty
All
quick
right, so
today. But I did send that to you, Chris Kenny and Mike Buckley to distribute and look at. Rick, I think you're on the distribution list.
Okay.
If you're not, I think you should be. I
Okay.
have to look back, and if not, I'll make
Chuck,
sure.
Chuck, if I may on that. So just to let you know, that's the collection system O&M plan. And like you had said, it was in the new NIPD's permit of 2022. And I think once you get the initial plan put together by Weston and Sampson, that is, that can be updated. That does have to be updated every year by March 31st. So I think once we get the initial plan, there's no reason the sewer superintendent, can't update that annually.
No, that'll be a plug and play like the
Absolutely. Yep.
semi-annual EPA. submission.
Like I said, I looked everywhere for it and I could not locate it.
Yeah, no, we all did. Robin, Mike, all of us did. But like I said, we started the slate clean with the EPA, and I just want to keep on their good terms.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's where the year. Okay, I'm still following my agenda.
you
Yeah.
are.
I year 3 plan. The plan has been approved by by the attorneys. Chris Kenny's given his signature page to Robin. This is for the investigation in areas 9 and 13. 6 and 11, 9 and 13. we had a lot of discussions, and I'll be going into that next and to segue into the South Weymouth Naval Air Station. There was some discussions of what they wanted to do. There's been no commitments. I talked to both Weston Sampson, Rick, and Roy Pierce, and they feel until there is a firm commitment from the base, follow the submitted plan to the EPA. So we've had the money allocated for the year 3. I'll be asking the board to vote on that at the next, as soon as possible.
All right, I have a question on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The funding for that is going at town meeting article. Do we have to
Yep.
wait for that to pass before we can sign the contract?
No, what we want to do is we want to get it approved. They can wait for the funding. The reason being, we want to get that work scheduled while there's still some high flow out there to take full advantage of it.
Okay, so my question is, once it's voted on and passed, we still have to put the money in an account and pay it out of that account. And that was my question. What account are we going to spend it?
Right,
Spend it out of?
and that's gonna come from Scott, doesn't it?
No, you
Well, that
guys,
would come from us. It's an
yeah,
INI,
it's your budget.
INI control plan.
No, it's not in the annual budget. It's part
it?
of the town meeting article.
Right, so when you get the article money, are we setting that up as its own account?
Yes,
Okay. All right, set up the article as its own account.
But we can
I can't
sign,
remember, but were the other 2 out of articles as well, year 1 and year 2?
no,
then
Oh,
why are
okay,
we
that-
treating, okay, then why are we treating this separately?
We didn't have
Um,
articles for the other 2. We already had budgeted accounts, I believe.
we had already budgeted the funds coming out of ARPA.
Yeah, ARPA, that's
Okay,
what it
that's
was,
right.
ARPA.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they were ARPA funds, okay.
So what is it? So year 3 is, I'm sorry, what did you? Could you repeat that again? I'm just
What?
trying to write this down, please.
What?
Which part?
The part, this article that we're working on now, this is for,
The INI
Yep.
control plan year 3, the investigation in areas
9 and 13.
Yes,
9 and 13, yes.
yes, it's
Is
being
it on?
funded through a town meeting article.
Okay,
So,
So that the part of the police detail will come out of the ARPA funding
But we can, yes,
that was
Oh.
remaining from last year.
yes, that we have not used yet. But we can sign this contract?
Yes. I've already talked to Scott, to Chris, and all we're doing is we're starting the ball in motion to get
Okay.
the scheduling done. We're not doing any physical work. We're
Okay,
just trying to get everything scheduled
okay,
and get on the book. So, give them a commitment that we're on the books, we get it done. I really would like to take advantage of this high water.
so are you not voting? How much is that contract for anyway, the INI year 3 plan with Weston and Sampson?
167 off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
155.
155.
Oh, yeah, that's right, 155. And you're not voting on that right now?
Yeah,
I would
I'm-
like to. I'd like
I'm
to
okay
vote.
with that.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the INI year 3 control plan. We can get scheduled and motivated on it. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes,
and Mr. Hesh is a yes. That is approved and ready to go.
so that means I know I have to go down and sign it.
Yeah, Dan, you have to sign it as well.
Can I ask you, I made the copies by mistake ahead of time and I don't want to waste the paper. Can you just sign all 3? That way I can, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, stack them up.
When do you want us to come down and sign them?
You can do it tomorrow, that'd be great. I really wanna, we got a lot of paperwork. Right now, we're gonna be doing this and we got a lot more coming up.
I can do that. Hold on.
All set on year 3?
Yes,
Okay, South Weymouth Naval Air Station. There's been some meetings held. The most recent was held on April 5th. I'm gonna share my screen on that now. Can you see that?
No.
No,
Hold it. I know what I did. Share screen. England Development. Share. Ah, you see it?
I
No,
see your name.
Hang on.
there it is.
There it
Yes.
is.
Okay. On April 12th, we had a meeting with the representative of South Weymouth Naval Air Station and New England Development. And it's self-explanatory. I think I posted this out there. Attending the meeting was Tony Omabono and Bob Dale from Tetra Tech, who are handling the infrastructure. Paul Sincata of New England Development, Mike, myself, Rick, I think, was there, Ken Wong, and the meeting was hosted by Weston Sampson. The reason it was done on Zoom was to minimize costs for Tetra Tech for the project. Now, the only thing with what we wanted to do is to identify areas that may be able to be worked on, and would they develop the spreadsheet from that I'm going to share with you. And this is all public record now. At the end of the meeting, they asked for a document outlining the options and the associated costs. I'm going to be putting that up. The one thing I want to tell you, everyone that looks at this or reads this later on in the, on YouTube, that the costs I'm going to show you do not include any cost for remediation. These are strictly investigation costs. The I&I million gallons a day figures, again, they're only estimates. And based on historical flow removal success, projected I&I remediation is usually significantly less. Now, if you're going for infiltration, it's just even DEP uses the same number. So when you find a source and you say, okay, there may be 1 million gallons of I&I, they only expect you to really repair and recoup 20% of that on a good day. We've seen evidence of that in our previous work. Inflow is a different story. If you can identify a lot of inflow, usually that's a higher rate of success. Now, there will be additional costs for the numbers I'm going to show you. There will be additional costs in the same dollar range for the repair work. Now, also keep in mind that anything you do with inflow is usually on private property. That's roof drains, sump pumps. The big hitter will probably come from roof drains. Now, Mike, you were at that meeting and you overheard the comment. One of the comments they made, the developers made, that if the costs are in the tens of thousands and not in the hundreds of thousands, they may be willing to help us out. And I made the comment, and again, Mike was there, that a police daily detail alone on our last project, we budgeted $100,000 for. So the tens of thousands is not realistic. I also made it very well known to them that sewer commissioners are willing to do whatever the developers like, but we don't have the funds to invest in projects of this magnitude. And at the advice of our 3 engineering consultants, until we have some form of direction and commitment from New England Development, we're going to follow our EPA-approved I&I control plan starting the year 3 work this spring and summer. Now, when the developers met with us at the last meeting, and Mike, if my numbers are wrong, tell me. They came back and said initially, going back a year or so ago, they said 1.6 million gallons. Then they came back and said 400,000. Now they're saying in actuality, they may only need 200,000 gallons of capacity, which by the Title V means they're only talking about 1,800 maximum bedrooms on the Rockland side. Now that figure is without any commercial or industrial figures included. So I'm just using what I know of in Title V. And the numbers they gave us of that 200,000 gallons does not include peak flows. Peak flows means rains, heavy storms, snow melt, etc. Now, by state DEP regulations, just using the state, if for that 200,000 gallons, that means they have to remove 800,000. And that figure they're giving us will be for the entire build out, which is completed in 2040. Now, we have to go back and really look at these numbers because they're fluctuated to the extreme. So until they have a concrete plan, we need to know what we're talking about. Now, I want to really emphasize to every number that the numbers we're discussing do not include any extra capacity for Rockland. And this is gonna open up a lot of legal questions, which I deliberately cut off of this email because I gave them to them, to Mr. Galvin to consider. Some of those things are, if we waive the 11-to-1 for the base, we might have to do it for everyone. If we do that, we've got to raise our fees almost triple because we're not going to lose money. And then we got to think of how does that affect on the projects waiting to connect. Now, what I emphasized to them that we currently have a 12-month rolling average discharge average of over 3 million gallons a day, and it has not dropped one bit. Now, with that number, we're 500,000 gallons a day over our current permit. We have a minimum of 158,000 gallons a day just in the approved projects and those projects waiting to connect. And we haven't seen the flows yet of 632,000 gallons at 4-to-1, if we went with the state, or 1.7 million gallons at 11-to-1. These are just the things I'm throwing out there. Now, you also got to realize we have a failing secondary treatment system. And I think Rick will verify that this system that we have now cannot take any additional pressure until that grade is complete. Rick, am I wrong?
Nope, you are absolutely 100% correct.
Okay. Now, the other thing to keep into consideration, I've been chirping this all along and it's falling on deaf ears, that when we begin an upgrade, there's going to be process interruptions. We're going to need some extra capacity to deal with the shutdowns during the building inspection, during the building and installation process. These are all the things that must be considered if they do away with a sewer commission or whatever. These numbers are not going to go away. One thing now I want to share with you what we came up for numbers, which batten down your hatches. Can everybody see that? Can everybody see that table?
Yes, we can see the table.
Okay, I'm gonna move this out of here so I can see. Now, they wanted the options, and we broke it down. Weston Sampson went back and they spent a week and a half going over the options, everything we discussed. We gave them 4 options. Option 1 is smoke and dye testing, and we split it to 2 things. And we gave them options on everyone. Doing 80% of the town, which is the only way you're gonna get anything out of it, and 100% of the town. Now, when you do smoke and dye, you're looking at inflow, roof drains, and sump pumps. Now, if you look at the pricing, they're saying you might be able to get $1.5 million on the 80%, maybe, right? Remember what I said that, maybe. At a cost of $210,000. Now, that includes engineering and police details. That does not include repairs. Now, when you're dealing with inflow, again, you're going on private property. And it's not up to the town to go in and mandate that. They have to do it. So that's where you get kind of funky when you're dealing with inflow. So please keep that in mind. Inflow is private property. Again, you're going down to, on top of the smoke and dye, we could go and do building inspections. Once you do the building inspections, we could go in and start looking for sump pumps, a mailing campaign, education. Again, that's time to go in and do the inspections and the repairs. And when we're looking after the inflow, that's also talking about roof drain inspections. The top one was for doing the dyes. Now, after you find it, say, okay, we see the smoke and the dye from there, you have to go back and investigate further. That's a costly item. So you see another $750,000 for that investigation. One of the others say, okay, what if we outlined a pilot program to do some lining and piping? And we just took sub-area 13. And sub-area 13, I could show you the streets that were involved. And just that alone is $4 million. None of this is cheap. And again, I'm going back to the comment of if it was in the tens of thousands, not the hundreds of thousands, they may be willing to help out. The note you see down here, we based our numbers on peak flows, which you have to do. And that's peak flow, we came up with 2.8. Infiltration is based on the percentage of the pipe in the sub areas metered. So we're talking just in sub area 13. In the 15 sewer areas in town, we only have 2 meters. They'd have to come up with 13 more meters. So this is where the program stands now. We didn't expect to hear back from them. They sent an email out yesterday wanting to have a second meeting because I think they got blown away with the pricing. I've shown these pricing to Doug, or I'm sure shared them with the board of selectmen. But we can't wait for them to come back and say, yeah, we're going to give you this or haggle out. I don't
And
know
this
how
is-
fast they want to move. Mike, do you have any idea how? To my personal opinion, I think they're looking for a freebie, and we can't give it to them. We don't have the money.
Well, Chuck, I mean, didn't they also say that it dropped from first, like you said, it was 1.6 MGD, then it went to 400,000 gallons per day. And now they're talking like, what is it? Last time meeting was 170,000 gallons per
Yeah,
day or
and
something?
again, I don't know where they're coming up with these numbers, but again, before they get anything from us, it's going to be permitted and it'll be a not to exceed. So they're going to have to do, I don't think they know. I think they're reaching, I guess there was an error in their MIPA filing. This is what I'm gathering. They have another report that is due was it the 15th of May, Mike?
Yeah, I think it was.
The 15th of May, and then they still have to file their environmental impact report.
Yeah, wasn't there something they had to have done? It was by January or something. They had to be a real project in January.
They have to have a real project by January 25.
Yeah,
But
25.
we can't commit to anything until we have some monies. I mean, right now, and I'm leaving it up to them. They were saying I'm making a big thing out of the money. Well, Rockland doesn't have it, and Rockland's got some serious decisions to make. I mean, the base is a great potential source of income, and I am all for it. I really, truly am. But I'm also looking at an aging sewer system that cannot take any more pressure. Our upgrade is at least at a very minimum before we get the clarifier and aerators, at least 5 years away.
And the other thing too, Chuck, is when we do upgrade the plant, there will be no increase in capacity.
No, that's correct. And that's one thing they got to realize. And Rockland is over capacity right now. The EPA has told us that we are not going to get additional capacity. All this is going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is remember what we said about the NIPD's permit. The NIPD's permit wants you at 80% of your capacity. We've never been there. So every year that we're above that 80%, we got to file a report telling them how we're going to reduce our flow. And by the EPA order, we have to tell them how we're going to reduce our flow. So everything everyone's talking about is adding. We can't add until we get down. Unless I'm missing something in the math and in the engineering, I really don't know what to tell people. All I can do is tell you the truth, give you the facts, and let you make your own decisions.
So Chuck, that means we need to be at 80%, we need to be at 2 million gallons, right?
Correct. That's in the NIPD's permit. NIPD's permit wants every plant to operate at 80% of their permitted maximum capacity to deal with global warming and the heavy storms that they're predicting.
Right.
And we can't get there.
Chuck, can I ask a couple questions about this chart?
Sure.
Well, actually, a little bit before that, did the South Weymouth ask us to waive the 11.1 and go with the state?
No, they brought it. What they did is when they looked at our 11-1, they said, where'd that come from? I said, that's a number that previous boards in town of Rockland committed to in 2006 to that administrative order. And we've just been following that pattern because that's in all the documentation is from that point. The state Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection has a minimum of 4 to 1. But if we went 4 to 1, we'd never, ever get caught up. We couldn't do it.
All right. So my next question is, if I'm looking at this chart, right, it looks like it's cheaper to address inflow and more effective to remove it because you have a higher success rate?
It's better if you can go after the inflow because you'd have a better chance of a higher success rate. Now, with the numbers they're putting in, like let's say the 1.5 and 1.8, cut that down to on your best bet, 40% of that. Now, out of that 40%, take away sump pumps because you're never going to do away with sump pumps. So if you take that 1.8, let's go utopia. Okay, wait a minute here. Let me do this. Okay, say we had 75% success rate. That's 1.3 million gallons, okay? That possibly could be removed.
Now, what is that, Chuck? Is that the 1.5 plus the 1.8, or is that just the
No,
one?
I'm just using 1.5. I'm not looking at the 1.9. I'm just saying if we had 75% of the 1.5, that's 1.3 million, okay? Now, out of that 1.3 million, to me, the only realistic ones you're going to get are roof drains, okay? Now, how many roof drains are there? Because let's face it, you cannot tell people not to use their sump pumps. You cannot tell people that, okay, you're going to stop using your sump pumps and connect them legally, because that means people may have to excavate their yard. They're not going to have the money for that. So when you start dealing inflow, you're talking, and you're going on private property, you're talking liability issues.
Right.
So you need to have legal documents to allow you access. All that's going to take time. The smoke dye testing we can do, right? Once we get into the building inspections, you need permission to enter.
Okay, so
What
for
I'm
a
saying is, no, what I'm saying is don't get hung up on the numbers because everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, there it is. No, it's not. I mean, there's a success ratio here.
So with the smoke and dye, you don't require access to a property, but for building inspections, you do.
Yes, because it's private property.
Okay, so my next question was, so in theory, if it's cheaper to address the inflow and more effective to remove it, if we went that route, would it buy us more time to then move over to do the inflow, which we're already working on? I mean, the infiltration that we're already
Well, see,
working
that's
on?
just it. We're following the EPA approved I&I control plan we submitted.
Okay.
Us to do smoke and dye testing is in year 4 and 5.
Oh, okay.
What they're asking us to do is speed it up. Well, I can tell
Okay.
you right now, we're not going to have that kind of money next year to do smoke and dye testing.
Right. So if I remember correctly, Chuck, when we had that meeting, the New England Development asked us, well, they felt as though that would we be better served on finding the inflow issue as opposed to the infiltration. And this is the reason why Weston and Sampson came up with this
Correct.
table that we're looking at right here. Is that correct?
That is correct. But again,
Right.
we can't stop our year 3 and wait. What if they come back and say no? Now, right now,
Right.
we just approved the year 3 to go. If they come
Right.
back,
And then I remember also
hold
during
it,
that
hold it.
meeting,
If they hold it now, if they come back and they say we approved the year 3, if they come back and say, well, we're going to give you the $400,000 to go that route, great.
right. But then I remember they said, well, we don't want you to change course or change your plans.
Right. They said we're not telling you to.
Right. We're not telling you.
They were implying they would like to.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I had the conversation with Weston Sampson
Right.
and Wright Pierce, and they're saying that if we do that without a firm commitment, I could be leaving myself open for a broadside from the EPA because
Right.
I'm deviating from the approved plan.
Right.
So right now, our marching orders are everything that we've committed to. And if they want to come in with some more additional funding, great. My opinion is they're going to balk.
So let me ask you this, Chuck. So let's say they said, all right, we will give X amount of dollars if you go with the inflow, you speed it up.
Yeah,
they-
of course. If they come back
Hold on a
and say they're
second.
going to
Hold
do
on.
it, we'll
So
do
let
it.
me ask the question. So let's say they did that and we move forward. Are we going to get dinged from the EPA, the DEP?
Why would we get dinged?
I'm just
No.
Above
asking.
and beyond what we're doing.
So
Okay.
I think the course of action is to continue with our
Right.
planned.
Yep.
EPA approved plan
Yep.
And then if we can do more than that with help from the base, great.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I'm proposing we do. I mean,
Yep.
I
No, I
don't
would not
want,
stop, I would not stop our current course of action.
oh, no, that's what I'm
No.
proposing to you guys. I don't think we should. Weston
Nope.
Sampson does not think we should, which is why I asked you to
No,
vote on the year 3.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
if they want to expedite the process and give us money for year 4, that's awesome.
that's great.
Right now, we can't wait. We need to do some more work.
All right, so I have one more question to tie it all
Sure.
together. We
Sure.
have a 5-year EPA-approved plan, I&I control plan. But do we have a copy of that somewhere? Because I don't remember putting
we
that
do.
on the website.
Yep, it should be up the website.
It's on the website?
Yeah, under the Weston Sampson stuff.
Oh, all right.
Years 1, 2, and 3 was investigation and repairs of what we could find for infiltration, and 3 and 4 and 5 were for smoke dye testing and sump pumps.
Okay. So year 1 and 2, didn't we
1,
do?
2, and 3 was for infiltration because we needed to reduce they ordered us to reduce our flow. That was the fastest way to reduce it.
Okay, so the first year was investigation. I remember that. The second year was infiltration. Third year is infiltration. 4 and 5 are inflow.
Right.
Okay. That
And
that's
that's a big number though. And these are the numbers the last numbers we spoke about. The base has this, the Board of Selectmen has this. Now it's public record, and this is what the base wants to talk about. Hopefully that next meeting will be sometime next week. And they'll tell us which way they want to go or if they want to go.
I just have one.
But wait a minute, what are some of the questions they had? Wait a minute. Let me go back in. I think some of their questions were here. No. Okay, I did want to show you this. These are the streets that would be questioned and if they wanted to do that piping. These are all the streets. These would be from Howard Street to Union Street, Howard Street to Union Street, Market Street to Webster. But these are all the other streets.
Those are the streets for pipelining?
If they wanted to do it. A pilot program would be in this area, yeah.
All right.
Now for our investigation, for year 3, what are we doing, 9 and 13?
Yeah,
Yep.
9 and 13, yep.
These are the streets we'll be investigating here in zone 9. And here are the streets in zone 13.
I have one other question about the chart that you just had up. One of the last entries for $30,000.
No, that's not it. Go ahead.
That last entry under number 4 for the annual maintenance program / analysis is $30,000, but the word annual makes me think that that's going to happen every year.
It's going to have to, yes. That's part of the control that we have to submit it and update it.
And that would include Weston and Sampson doing that annual maintenance program.
Yep,
And what is an annual maintenance program? Is it work out in the street?
yep.
So is that
That'll be a
what?
year-
Is that-
That'll be a yearly cost.
Right. So I'm
Just for
wondering,
now, hold it. That's a yearly cost. That'd be on top of the flow meters.
and how
That's
much
true.
are the flow meters?
Yep, because they have to go out, read them. Now, we're talking about, they're
Oh,
saying 13, but remember, we have 2, so it'd be 15 meters throughout the town. And periodically, they're gonna have to go and be read, data analysis, and calculated in. Because we have to report it.
Don't we have 3 of our own meters?
I think we only bought 2.
Oh,
Again, this sheet is just first go around. I mean, it's like I said, I'm still hung up on the flows numbers they're giving us. I can't see how they vacillate so much, but
well, you know, that analysis portion is actually gonna cost more money because they're gonna find stuff to get fixed.
Again, these are just preliminary numbers they wanted. And we had it, they wanted us to put something down, we gave them, that, I had no input to this, I just asked Weston Sampson, I says, do what you would charge us.
Yep.
I mean, if they want to do it all, they're saving us a bundle. But again, is it going to get us anywhere? All this may just bring us into compliance. Because remember, we still have more connections waiting to happen. So that's my spiel on the base. Any questions?
Yeah, can you send me the stuff that you shared on the
Yep.
screen so I can put it with the minutes, please?
I've got it all set, ready to go in one big file.
Thank you.
See, I'm on top of the game. I brought my aim game tonight.
It's scary.
It is.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing that. Okay, drainage. We got an email from Dave today that I want to, I think we all got it. I'm not sure. Let me,
Okay.
that's why I brought it up, because Dave brought up a question about the grant. AMD or whatever it was, and
The asset management program.
hold it. Let me close this out. Yeah, okay. Here's the
No.
email that came up from Dave today.
No, okay.
It said, regards to the AM, yeah, I sent an email on 4/18. He said, he's not heard back. Well, we didn't have a meeting till tonight. We can't talk about it until we talk, we meet.
Furthermore, when we discussed this at our last meeting with him, we all agreed that we were going to sit down together with the company and map out the project.
Okay, here's what was my reply, Sherry, on top here. I said, I thought Sherry reached out to you on the grant and forward this to her, and drainage on tonight's item too, so we can discuss it. What I'm asking is to Sherry, you handle that. I need to know
Okay.
what you want to do with that. So if you're gonna reach out to him and say, okay, we could pencil him in for a meeting, not next week, the week after.
Yes,
Okay, so I would say I will, where's my Huda here? Okay. Let me get a date here.
Sherry, when you say company, who do you mean when you say company?
1 second.
What are we talking about?
The grant,
It must be whoever's administering the grant, I'm assuming.
environmental partners.
Environmental
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so if you would tell Dave, we could schedule a meeting for May 7th at 1 o'clock if you'd like to talk about it.
May 7th at 1.
Anyway, that's on the grant. That I thought, Sherry, I'm at a blank on that, so I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, in French's Road, he's got any estimates. I want you to take a good look at this because there's some heavy hitters in here. And I took a look at it with Mike. We got
I got
estimates
pictures of that too.
Wait a minute, we got estimates from a contractor that's under a general procurement for equipment rental. I'm at a total loss how a contractor and equipment rental works, but we'll have to talk about that as well. We will forward, so maybe we'll get that, we'll look at it. They'll continue with the closed drainage upgrades on French's Road next week, and we'll work our way down to the outfall area. Keep in mind the outfall area on the engineering design is only the outfall for Townsend French's Old Country. Mike, that's the outfall that we looked at. We've
What,
reached
French's
out to
Road?
Concom to extend or renew the NOI. So I think with some things that are going on with drainage, we've got to walk very carefully on this. So I want to make sure that we are not.
That's a very wet area.
Yes, I know that, but it's also, I don't know if it also falls into the Zone A. So that's an issue, and I'm gonna be reaching out to Doug Galemi on that. Now,
Uh,
what
Wait a
can
about,
minute, Chuck, what you're talking about is when you and I walked out there, that was in French's Row behind that gentleman's house.
yes,
Right, okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure, okay.
Chuck, can you clarify what zone A is, please?
Zone A is the buffer around the reservoir. This would be the same conflict that Shingle Mill falls in, and it may not. I don't know where the Zone A was delineated. So if it does hit that area, that's just something else we gotta look at. Because I'm assuming we have to put in for the, notice of intent. That I'll clarify with Doug Galemi. But what, if you look at this spreadsheet of $125,000, consider that, and Mike was involved in a phone call we had with the attorneys, Doug Lapp and Dave Taylor, that sewer is only responsible for the outfall where it enters into the drainage,
Open drainage.
open drainage. So they're looking for $40,000 for us. And there's not $40,000 worth of work.
No,
Now, what we have got to decide is, are we gonna split it 3 ways or are we gonna stay within our budget?
Who's the three-way split with?
My assuming listening to Chris Kenny is planning, highway and sewer.
Planning doesn't have a budget, I don't believe.
Well,
Not our problem.
according to Attorney Kenny, it's split 3 ways between planning, highway and sewer.
Sewer, planning and highway.
Now, if you look at the regulations, we are not in it. We have it's all, I don't think we should do anything, to be honest with drainage, until we see where this town charter goes. Because if you look at the charter change, they've taken away drainage from the sewer commission, which we will walk away from.
So my
Except
question
with the
is,
exception of the MS4 permit. Go ahead, Sherry.
this 125,000. Probable construction cost.
Okay, what he's looking at doing. If you were down the
Is
end.
this
of
the work that
French's
he was just doing in these past weeks?
He might have been, I don't know, I haven't been down this past week. There's a right of way that goes from the last house on French's Road out towards the wetlands. There's an existing right of way. What he wants to do is clear it. I guess throw crushed stone down on it. Put a gate there. And put a barrier around the outcrop. My question is this really necessary? Now, what I'm looking at from what I could see on the street, yes, the manhole work is necessary because it is sinking. But we don't have the $40,000 just to throw out. And if that's the case, I'd rather put that $40,000 towards that sinkhole on East Water Street, because that's going to be another costly endeavor. See, I just don't see the urgency or the emergency on this. And
And
these
where
costs
does-
are since, wait a minute, these costs are since April of 2020.
Yeah.
These are not post-COVID costs.
And where does 30B fall into this?
You tell me. What I'm lost at is this statement right here.
Can you put that back up?
Yep.
That memo,
What
please?
I'm lost at is, can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
What I'm lost of is this a marker here?
It looks like oh yeah, that's a marker.
That's what I'm looking. We've gotten
Oh.
estimates for a contractor that is under our general procurement for equipment rental. I have no idea what this 43 falls into 30B. I have not seen, we have never ever seen quotes for drainage, which from here on in, when we had that meeting with the attorneys, there was a question brought up about, we were talking about Spruce Street. And I made the comment, Mike was there, they said, well, it's the same thing that happened up at Beach Hill. We paid that under an emergency. We didn't see quotes. And he said, well, yeah, but you signed the purchase order. Well, yeah, I signed it based on the quotes that I thought he had. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here. I'm just saying, we have never seen quotes. I'm making a motion right now that we don't sign anything off on drainage till we see hard quotes.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes,
And Ms. Hessian's a yes. I'm all for participating in drainage up into our responsibility.
Just,
If it's a luxury for a gate that's never been there, or a blasting a road that's never been there, I just think we need more understanding of this project.
can you
And again,
hold
we're
on one
number
second?
one, if it was voted as the most important, how does it rate now with that sinkhole on East Water Street in that head wall? I think we've got to take a good hard look at this.
Can I repeat the motion back? It went by so quick. I just want to make sure I have it.
The
So
motion
Chuck-
is, we will only approve, we want to see quotes prior to approving any expenditures on drainage.
Okay, so what I wrote was Chuck motioned, Sherry seconded to not sign off on any future drainage work without seeing 3 quotes for the work.
If it's within the chapter 30, yeah. Well, we want to see any and all quotes.
leave it at quotes.
Any quotes. And if it's over $10,000, it's got to be 3 quotes per. But what I don't understand is,
But if it's
what
under,
is
Okay, are we-
what is this?
You're gonna
general-
have to make the motion again because you're
That's
adding
fine.
language that you didn't say. So
You're
I'm gonna
right.
cross this off
Okay.
and have
You're
your
right.
motion again.
Let's talk about.
Give me a minute to
we-
think
We got
about
everyone talking here. Sherry, you make a motion. What do you want to say?
give me 1 minute to think about this. The motion is. And I don't know how to say this, the request for the sewer to pay for drainage expenses.
How about this? How about the motion reading? Any request for sewer to contribute to drainage must be accompanied by hard copy quotations.
And a description of the work.
Correct. And must comply with chapter 30 procurement. So the motion should read, any request to sewer for drainage funding must be accompanied with hard copy quotes with a description of work and compliant with chapter 30 procurement practices.
Sewer for drainage funding.
By 3 quotes and comply with 30B.
Yeah,
30B, what did you say? 30B,
procurement.
thank you.
practices.
Procurement practices, thank you.
Read it back.
Okay. Any request for sewer to approve drainage work, I put in parentheses funding, must be accompanied by 3 quotes and comply with 30B procurement practices.
Hang on. 3 quotes. Comply with 30B. And a description of the work.
Well, the 3 quotes will describe the work
Yeah,
I'd like the work described.
with a separate description. Okay.
Yes,
project description.
yes.
Project description accompanied by 3 quotes, project description.
All right. I'll read it back one more time.
Are you
Written.
taking time to read back these quotes?
What'd you say?
Nothing. I was making something else.
So any request for sewer to approve drainage work / funding must be accompanied by 3 quotes and a written project description and comply with 30B procurement practices.
Well, I think 3 quotes are only required if it's $10,000 or more.
Yeah, I would just say,
But you know what? That's the requirement of the 30B procurement, but you can make your own requirements. You might want to, if you want 3 quotes, you want 3 quotes.
not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I'd go with that. Well, don't let me go with that. You guys.
What about, do we want the quotes for work over $2,000? I mean,
I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem with asking for 3 quotes.
well,
Honestly, there's probably no work under $2,000.
well,
Yeah,
I don't
well-
want him chasing down quotes for small odds and ends, you know?
Well, why don't you just say comply with 30B? So 30B says 3 quotes and you do 3 quotes.
Well-
Because if it's $5,000 for the work, let's get 2 quotes. Why not?
All right, so what's the
like 3.
threshold? $5,000?
No,
Sherry, you're the money guru. You handle that.
But you're telling me that 2,000 isn't really that much
It's not when you're looking at
when
anything.
it comes to this work.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's ever
No.
given us a quote for under 10.
So let's say 2 quotes and or comply with 30B. 2 quotes and comply with 30B. 2 quotes is good
Well, 30B requires 3 quotes.
if it's over
It's
10,000.
over 10,000.
Okay. So 2 quotes. So any request for sewer to approve drainage work / funding must be accompanied by 2 quotes, a written project description, and or comply with 30B procurement practices.
Yeah, I just don't understand what that contractor and equipment
Mhm.
rental having. I'm lost.
Well,
They
you
they
think
may
that,
need special equipment down there.
Right, and I think that David has staff that can use that equipment, so they just rent the equipment.
right, that's what I'm thinking too. I think
All right,
that,
so long as, you know, but,
That's fine.
yeah, that's fine. It's
So
still.
who's making that motion and who's seconding it, please?
Terry, why don't you make the
I'll make the
motion?
motion
I'll second.
as read by Robin.
All in favor, Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes.
and Mr. Hession's a yes.
Phew.
All right. Thank you for that.
That answers.
Thank you.
Uh,
All right. What's next?
Upgrade project in earmark. Sherry, why don't you bring us to speed on,
Uh,
let me
all
just,
right.
let me up to on the upgrade. Based on the heavy rains, and the pressure it's put on the older system, accompanied by all the ferric, the corrosive ferric we had to do to come into compliance with the EPA order. It's weakened the secondary treatment system significantly. Now that problem was predicted by the Wright Pierce facility study in 2019. We thought we had some time, and that was going to be in the second part of our upgrade. But these high water events and the again, the addition of all that corrosive ferric has made us switch priorities. We can meet our permit requirement with chemicals. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more damaging to the existing system. But the system that we have, if the clarifiers and aerators go down, we are out of business. We're going to have a serious environmental problem on our hands. So based on that, we made the decision for the first stage of the upgrade is to go with replacing the clarifiers and the aerators. The funding that we have in place is still going to be used. However, the total cost of this project will go from 20 million to $35 million. And again, I want to emphasize that is at today's dollar.
doesn't that also include?
$24.
What about the
Hold it,
electrical?
Mike. Let me, at today's dollar, $2024. What that amount changes in the next 2, 3, 5 years, it has no control over anybody. Go
Can you
ahead.
repeat what the fees were again? It went from what to what?
Say that again?
You said the cost went from one to something else, and I didn't get
Okay,
those
the
two
cost for
figures.
stage 1 was originally going to be predicted at 15 million to 20
15
million
million.
dollars. That now is going to go to, because we have to switch directions on an emergency basis, is going to be from 30 to 35 million dollars. Closer to 35 million at today's dollar. Make that today's dollar in bold letters.
No, that's your trick, not mine.
Okay, no, that's that is based, those prices are based from 3 environmental companies, Veolia, Weston Sampson, and Wright Pierce. Now, the portion that's being done now is strictly design, which is covered by the ARPA funds and our loan. Strictly design. And again, I want to emphasize this because some people don't hear this. Strictly the design work. The actual bid on the actual construction and everything else that will take place will be on an out to bid basis. the Board of Sewer Commissioners will be hiring an outside project manager to oversee that. He will report to the Board of Sewer Commissioners. And again, they will also report, who will be issuing reports to the Board of Selectmen. But the contract to build this will be going out to competitive bidding. The design process will not. Nothing has changed except for the dollar value and the scope. With that said,
So I'm sorry, the construction will go out to bid, but the engineering will not.
engineering is covered by the initial funding for the design is covered by the stage one design for the other one. We just switched directions on it.
Okay.
So that money's been allocated. We changed the project description to reflect that. We was left it somewhat vague for other changes that may come up. But Sherry, you could take it from there.
So,
Earmarks.
for the state revolving funds, Clean Water State Revolving Fund, that was originally applied for the phosphorus system. And we were approved for that project. However, because we're no longer doing that, we have to drop out of that funding and apply for next year for the aerators clarifiers.
The same place?
Yes. So basically, for the state revolving fund, we can't just switch the project and keep the money. We have to do it separately.
Okay.
For the federal funding earmark request, we have submitted requests to Senators Warren and Keating and Markey. Those requests all went in, and we had 3 support letters that went with it. So if our next task is to see if we can get some more letters of support. And what we want to do is set up a phone call with those individuals or with their office staff to discuss the project in full. We explained that it was $100 million project, and that was a broad estimate based on the total end of completion.
100 million?
But that's just projecting the interest in the future
And that's for the full upgrade.
for the full upgrade. But
Okay.
we're looking for 35 million at this request. And in June, the House Appropriations process begins, and they select the projects that are going to be earmarked. So that's why we want to get on the phone with somebody and explain this more and emphasize our need.
And as far as I know, Jessica was going to make those arrangements.
Correct.
Who's Jessica?
Jessica Richards from Wright Pierce.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Can I
She
just
just-
read that back, make sure I got it correct?
Yeah.
Since we switched to the clarifier and aerator, we need to apply again to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. We're asking for 35 million. Letters of support.
Nope, not 35 million to the state revolving. We just have to reapply,
Oh, and there's no amount there. Okay.
but we haven't gotten an amount yet, no.
All right. And so letters of support have been submitted to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
No, so that's
Who they submitted to?
back up. So now we've switched gears to the federal funding earmark request.
Federal funding earmark request.
That's your 35 million. And your 3 support letters.
All right. Well, I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
All right, but the entire project, including interest, is about $100 million for the full
That's a
upgrade.
broad estimate, yeah.
Broad estimate. All right,
And again, I want to just reemphasize to anybody that's watching this, this upgrade will not, absolutely will not increase our capacity. This upgrade is just to replace equipment that was originally installed in 1962 and is not working. It also does not include any of the infrastructure, the piping outside of the gates of the treatment system, and it does not include the 13 pump stations. It also does not include any secondary treatment system that the town may need in the future.
There is a third funding opportunity that was brought to our attention. A state earmark amendment for 100,000. And that request was submitted to DeCoste. So we were reaching out to everybody that we can think of to get some assistance with this.
What kudos I want to throw out, and I am very sincere on this, is from the bottom of our hearts, I want to thank Samantha Woods of the North-South River Watershed Association, who has been a humongous help on beating the drums.
Yes,
She has contacted everyone and anyone and is still on the horn working to get us letters of support. So Samantha, if you watch this later, I thank you very much on behalf of the town of Rockland and the Rockland Sewer Commission. Sherry, you still on?
Sherry, now that was 100K, right, for DeCoste?
yes.
Do you want to send a letter to Samantha?
I'm in the process of writing one now.
Okay.
Time has been a problem lately.
Okay,
I need an administrative assistant.
I have one question. You said we were
Well-
going to hire an outside project manager. Is that a contract worker or an employee?
That'll be a contract worker. Well, then let me, I can read it. Where I got it right here. Hold on. I got it right here. Here it is here. As we discussed in our team, you'll be required to hire an owner's project manager, OPM, for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade, since this project will cost more than 1.5 million.
Who's making that requirement?
That's a state law.
Oh, it's a state law. Okay.
See, it's the same process we use to hire architects. We'll be asking for qualifications, not price. We pick the most qualified firm. Then you negotiate the fee with the top ranked firm. If you can't negotiate the fee, you eliminate them and go on to your second highest rank. When they say eliminate them, I hope I get to use my new pistol. Let me see. The second that happens, why don't you take, okay, I'll be updating the document and have attorneys looking at it. I have the guideline right here to go by.
and that's for the construction.
For the, yes. Once we get the design in place, he will take it from there.
It's like having a foreman, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and that is one massive headache off our shoulder.
And that's just gonna be for that one phase.
Well, no, it'll be
Or
for
is that-
the plant, but we'll start out with the.
Starting with that phase.
Secondary treatment system.
Yep.
And in that secondary treatment system, remember, is also the generator and the electrical upgrade.
Right.
Hey, we gotta move this along. Rick's dozing off. He went to the Dan DeRoss School of Attention.
Okay, well, I can help with that because the town meeting articles, they've been published.
Yep.
Everything's all set with that for the May 6th.
Yeah,
meeting.
if I may in a town meeting, Sherry, I think what we should do is schedule a sewer commissioners meeting for that night. In case when I get up to read the article in, if I
Yep.
have any other questions, I can call on you.
Yep, makes sense.
I'll put out a sewer commission. When I get up to read it, I'll just state I'd like to open up a sewer commission meeting, yada, yada, and
Yeah,
go on.
okay. So, and those articles, it's 6 items requested. And they're all listed in the warrant. For the working sessions updates, you've heard what we're scheduling for our next working session as we go along. All about the work projects, the federal and state funding and the upgrade.
Sure, I missed that. The town meeting articles, what did you say? There were 6?
Yep. It's all in the warrant.
Yep.
You and Mike, you have that list. We worked on that.
The warrant's up at the town hall.
Okay, so accounting update, we can go right over right now, sure, it's after the town meeting if you want.
Well, I do have one good news. Those funds from Monahan Rink have been transferred back to the sewer revolving fund
Oh,
account.
that's nice, I like that.
Yes. Thank you, Robin, for following up on that.
Oh, you're welcome. I talked
Oh.
to Scott this afternoon and
Yeah,
it all worked out. So,
yeah. I knew it would. It was just getting it done.
yeah.
And other than that, I have no changes on the other stuff.
Okay.
I'm done.
New business. Still staying with my agenda, manhole and drainage behind the Phelps School. I've received phone calls from some of the members of the Park Commission, Mike, myself, Gary Morrill. Several of the Viola people have been out there that, we're talking about the field behind, the baseball field behind the artificial field. That sewer manhole, at any heavy rain, is at least, Mike, tell me if I'm wrong, a foot to 2 feet underwater. Right now, that is not a problem. As the years go by and lawnmowers go over there and vibrate that seal and cover, that cover is going to fail, and we're going to have a massive infiltration problem. What I'd like to do is call Sean from the school build committee into the main meeting, express our concern, and hear from him what his remedies are. He had proposed a few way back when he was going to try them, but none of them seem to have worked. And I don't see these heavy rains going away anytime soon. So that's all I wanted to say so I'll be inviting him on the May 15th meeting.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
Isn't that the manhole that they were required to be raised and they
Yep.
did not follow
Yep.
the plan?
Yep.
So why can't we make them redo it?
Well, what I want to do is I want to call him in here in his side of the story too. I mean, I
Yeah.
did not voice that to Sean. That would, well, on top of being on top of the project, he should have seen it. I had made my recommendation to Jackson several times. Because just historical knowledge of that field and but anything they've tried for the drainage is just not working. That is underwater. Anytime it rains, at least a foot. So he's going to have to raise it. If it's going to be raised, what I would do is say I'd wait till after the baseball season, but they're going to have to come up with a long-term fix on that before next spring. But again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and call him in and just hear what he has to say. But we did make that request to have that erased cover. I don't know who changed that.
I don't think anybody changed it. I think they just ignored it because you would have had to sign off on the change.
Yep. No, I didn't see any change on it. Other new business, in May, I'd like to also have, the developer from 320 Concord Street in to vote approval on his project and remove, Beach Hill Estates off of there. And that's all I have for new business.
Wait, can you say that again, Chuck, please?
What?
You said 320 Concord, you're gonna have him in?
Yeah. Just to vote for approval for connection.
Right.
Do we need to see updated or current plans?
No,
or
he
anything?
has current plans submitted. All
He
his
did.
plans are up to
Okay.
date.
This is the
Okay.
40B project, right?
Yep.
And then we're removing Beach Street, is that what you said, Chuck?
We'll be
Beechwood,
removing Beach Hill Estates.
Beechwood.
Beechwood Estates. And
It's
it's
Beechwood
a
or Beach Hill?
wash.
Beechwood?
It's
Yeah.
Beechwood,
Beechwood.
Can you repeat that again, Sherry?
Beechwood.
Beechwood was approved in 2005 and they've just been carrying on to a period of litigation. They never decided to build. We gave them a 1-year extension. That extension ends May 15th. So we'll be pulling that and their flows are exactly what is required for 320 Concord Street in Manzella. So it is technically not a new connection. It's just a wash on previously approved. And besides that, we need the revenue.
And it's Beechwood Estates, correct?
Yep.
So we are reallocating that to Manzella?
Manzella and 320 Concord.
We're gonna discuss it at our next meeting. Yes.
Correct. And in the interim, I will double check that with the EPA to make sure that they are in tune with what we said. That money, that flow was already pre-allocated and considered, so I don't see a problem. With that, Mike, the show's yours. Digesta, Spruce, and Comfort Inn.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just taking some notes here. All right.
Do you want me to go with the Comfort Inn while you're writing notes?
Well, nope, I got my notes. I'm just pulling
Okay.
up what I had. Okay, so. All right, so for the digester piping update. We had a meeting on the 17th with Wilkinson, Mike Snee, here at the wastewater treatment plant. He indicated that he was unable to meet the September 8th, 2024 deadline. And this is due to the equipment manufacturer Veric. They've increased their lead time. On April 2nd, the ship date would be now August 29th. So there'd be no way for him to hit the September 8th deadline. Wilkinson did have emails from the manufacturer confirming this information. They said that they would install as much of the piping as possible while waiting for the equipment, which is the 3 traps and the 1 PRV. Chuck signed signed a change order. Deadline date of now, the new deadline date is October 30th, 2024. And he's requiring bi-weekly updates.
Now, after that, remember that there'll be anything he misses after that. We were very adamant that he clearly understood he will be responsible for $1,000 a day in penalties that he misses.
I'm sorry, this is a digester
Yep,
and the new deadline is October 30th?
yep. After that, it's $1,000 a day.
Did we put that in writing to him?
Yep, it's in the
In
contract.
the contract.
Okay. Well, it's a new due date.
Yep.
Yeah. And who's the
Wait a minute,
contractor
wait a
again?
minute, wait a minute. The new due date is October 30th.
Correct.
Yep.
Deadline date, yeah, due date. Project completion date.
Change order has been sent and submitted.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thanks.
All right, Spruce Street Pump Station.
Excuse me,
Update.
Mike, before you move on, who was the vendor for the project at the digester piping? Wilkinson?
Wilkinson. Yep.
Thank you.
Wilkinson and Hallam.
Hallam's the engineer, and Wilkin. Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right, so Spruce Street Pump Station, Weston and Sampson. They need to order a generator plug for station. The old unit was junk. Transfer switch was installed. Working on output signals for pump run hours. And they're going to need time. Time will be needed to program the SCADA system. So we're estimating completion in 1 to 2 weeks before it's transferred over to the town.
2 weeks from now?
1 to 2 weeks.
From now?
No.
Yeah, 1 to 2 weeks from now, yes.
Okay. So that brings us to,
That's an estimation.
okay. So like May 8th, maybe? Week ending May 10th?
Yeah, let me just see. That's a good point. Yeah, I would say week ending May 10th, yes.
All right.
All right, so then we've got the Comfort Inn emergency response. So Chuck, do you want to start off? Because I've got the documentation here. I can go through it.
No, I'll just give him a real quick one. Beginning of the month, I got a call after around 7:30 at night about a backup at the residence at 831 Hingham Street. I responded with Gary and Christian, and what we found was it looked like another planet, a grease ball, a grease buildup in the manhole in the street, in the main. Further investigation found out that Hoadley was down at the Comfort Inn 2 weeks prior and snaked the line from the Comfort Inn out into the main. And I think what he did is just push the grease out there and it caused that blockage. The emergency response, we called Hoadley down to jet the line with, where it was so late at night, all he had was the cold water to break it up, and Freddie went down the next morning with the heated hot water to finish the jetting. Now that line does a loop from the Comfort Inn heading to south, then switches direction and goes back up to Hingham North. There was some concern about whether the grease would have migrated up there. What we decided to do is wait and just observe Hingham North before we do any further jetting. To be on the safe side, I had the line from the residents jetted out to the main as well, but they did get backup sewerage into their basement. Now, because of that and because of the nature of the hazardous waste, I contacted Servpro, who responded and did the cleanup. They are in contact with their insurance agent and with the town's insurance agency to see where that goes. We're going to bear watching on the Comfort Inn because they're now getting meals and they do not have a grease trap. I spoke with Deli up at the Board of Health, and she says at this time we're just going to observe them. They were warned about doing the dishes and that in there. But we're going to pop the manhole every now and then and just keep an eye on it, just to be on the safe side. So right now it's in the hands of the insurance company.
Yep, and then Chuck, then you had me on April the 11th, you had me take a look at 900 Hingham Street.
Oh yeah, that was just,
there.
I wanted to make sure that the grease trap and that's for that little strip mall there, that was cool. And it was, to me, it definitely came from the Comfort Inn. It was built up and it was jetted out into the main. So all we can do now is, it's lessons learned to pay closer to due diligence and keep an eye on Hingham North when the guys are doing their pump work.
And then on Friday, April 12th, I went out with Gary and Christian. We went out, we observed a buildup of rags and clean wipes inside in the high flow around 11 a.m. with no soap or sewage. And this was the the sewer manholes on the property at the Comfort Inn.
Okay, I don't attribute that to infiltration. What I attribute that to is every room is full. When you observed it, people were probably taking showers and washing their hands and things of that nature. So I think that high flow was just peak use at that time.
But if you look if you look at the pictures inside the manholes, both the sewer manholes, there was a lot of
rags
rats
and all that, but they've been made aware of that. But
Yep.
That's up to them to do their work.
Right. And that was on the 12th. And on the 16th, we cambered the line from the manhole. We cambered from the manhole to the Comfort Inn, and then we cambered from the manhole out to the street. And what we found is that there was a buildup of grease on top of the pipe, inside top of the pipe.
That's just residual from the pressure of the backup. That again, all we can do is keep an eye on that.
Right.
I have a question. So you said you're going to keep an eye on it, pop the manholes in the area. How often and who's handling
I don't know.
that?
I'm going to leave that up to Rick and Mike to decide. I wouldn't make it a daily thing. I mean, when they inspect Hingham North every day, so if they notice anything funky at the pump station, they can get out and pop a manhole. I'll leave that up to Rick. Veolia update. Rick, you still awake and alive?
I am.
How the Bruins doing, Rick? Oh, you don't care.
Close is still up. Just since our last meeting, just a wrap up of the SSOs that we had for the month of March. We ended up with 3 of them. The last one, I believe, when we were having the meeting, we had one actually on March 29th. Since that meeting, it ended up lasting for 11 days, and it ended on, I believe it was April 8th. That was a very long, drawn out SSO. I mean, we ended up running our pumps intermittently for over 216 hours, and we estimated the flow at approximately about 9 million gallons that we had to blend with our final effluent partial treatment, hypochlorite added, but ultimately we ended up, pushing 9 million additional gallons out to the, French's stream.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's probably the high. I know probably it is the highest. I mean, and a lot of it is, the flows. I mean, when I left the facility today, we're still at over 3 million. And like Chuck had said earlier, we keep talking about the aeration and the clarifiers. And like I said in previous meetings, I can actually get about 4 million through the plant, but the aeration is where I start backing up. All my aerators right now, they're all still in manual mode. I can't put them in auto mode because of the condition of the pumps and the whole system back there. So it's going to be very interesting because we'll be coming into our summer permit on June 1st. Whether or not I can meet the new permit, or actually not new permit, but lower limits of the permit. So more to talk about in the future with that.
But that just goes to show you that, and again, I hate to keep saying this, but this is not a problem that has just reared its head. This problem has been known since 1994. And it's been put off and put off and put off. And you're at the point of no return right now. There is no putting it off.
No, it's so true.
I have a question. So when you say that it has lower limits, the permit, lower limits on what? The GPD?
The ability to process.
Yes, yeah, the flow's the same. Flow will be 2.5, whether it's the winter, summer, spring. My problem is because the aerators are in manual mode and I can't utilize them in the automatic mode, it deteriorates some of the numbers. So it's like I said, we're doing the best we can. As of right now, the only thing we've been violating has been the flow. And I think what we're talking about December, January, February, March, April. So April is going to be another violation. So we're looking at 5 consecutive months for flow.
So what you're looking at, Robin, is that as this system is wearing, it's lowering our holding capacity in rain events.
Yep.
So before we could probably not have an SSO until we hit 6 million. Now we have an SSOs at 4 because we can't hold it and treat. The blankets can't keep up with it. And now that is only going to get worse.
Yep.
So when you say it lowers our holding capacity, you mean the 2 million gallon tanks?
No, it means if we
Or
can
the capacity inside the plant?
Right.
Okay.
And, following up with that, I mean, March was a very bad month as far as I think we all know with the heavy rain. We ended up recording at the facility 10.22 inches. So obviously that did not help us with the SSO and the INI at the facility.
Again, you know what? And Rick and I have had several conversations. So it is just absolutely beyond me how Mass DEP and EPA haven't been in. It's just unbelievable.
Jumping to the generator status. I know I've been talking to Wright Pierce. So I believe that Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, they're pushing along for the electrical and generator. I've had a few questions that I have an electrician coming in next week for the louvers. All the years I've been there, have never really worked correctly. So we're going to be looking at that next week. Repair and maintenance. Right now, we've talked about it before, we're installing the effluent mag meters. We actually started that process this week. The low bidder was Ardent Group, which is like right at the end of the road, right on Summer Street in Concord. Like I said, they started today. Should be probably 3 days to get the meters installed.
On the roof?
No, these are the effluent flow meters down back, Robin.
On the waterfall.
Oh, yep, just prior. Yep. Again, I think we beat this together, as far as the clarifier and aerator status. Overall equipment status, major future concerns. Right now it's just getting difficult. I think where I'm seeing it now is as part of our contract, we allocate $100,000 a year on R&M, and I have less than 8,000. I've never been this low. I know the sewer departments, we have spent a ton of money on R&M. I'm almost out of R&M and I still got till June 30th. So my guys know everything is, it's got to be an emergency only. But I'm concerned, and what's happening is right now with that $100,000 that we spend, you're seeing it getting chewed up earlier and earlier because, like Chuck said earlier, the condition of of the equipment throughout the facility, never mind just the secondaries and the clarifieds, they're beat up and they're just getting older and older, and the money is just, it's just going out the door now so fast. And that's probably one of my biggest concerns right now, that we're going to run out of money just for basic R&M.
Right, the plant's got to operate, so we'll find you the money.
I know. But like I said, I am doing the best I can, to keep the
It's
plant.
not good enough, Rick. I want that upgrade tomorrow.
Yeah, I would love to see it too. That's as far as, like I said, that's really my future concern. Staffing, good news. Good news is I finally hired an APM to replace Megan. He will be starting on May 13th. Gentleman actually works for one of our competitors, Wood and Curran, out of the Plymouth wastewater treatment facility.
May 13th?
May 13th, yep. So he signed an offer letter, so he'll be coming aboard on that day. Since our last meeting, I had an operator who resigned, but the good news is I also had an intern at the facility that had been interning about 7-8 weeks, I believe. And I've already talked to him, and Veolia just posted the position today, and he actually wants the position. So again, probably sometime in May, once he accepts the offer and, gives his 2-week notice to where he's currently working, we'll be back up to full staff again. So that's about it as far as, as far as as far as what's going on at the plant. I mean, obviously everyone on this conversation knows where I'm at with the facility with Veolia, my guys. I mean, this 11 days we had that SSO, and that means 11 days with guys working second shifts, third shifts, day shift, only 2 people, 3 people. It's been very difficult. It's been very difficult. But like I said, we're all, some of us may not be from Rockland, but, we're all, we all want the best for the town. And we're going to continue to do the best no matter what equipment we have and, or what state of matter it's in.
And I have no doubt about it. And I say it
Yeah.
all the time, and you guys do a phenomenal job. I'm just sorry that it's gotten to the point that it's, that the facilities in the state it is. I mean, we've got to get this upgrade done. My best estimate, I think we've got 5 years, and that's pushing it. That is, I think we'll be at the end of our ropes by then. With that said, this has been a long night, and it's past Dan DeRoss's bedtime. But Dan,
Still awake, I'm still awake.
Okay, Dan.
I mean, you even
Run
called
set.
me. I couldn't believe you called me.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on tonight? With that, I'll take a motion to end tonight's meeting.
I'll make the motion to end tonight's meeting.
I know I'm not
Second,
gonna get a second, so I'll make it. Oh, do I have a second?
I'm a second,
All right, all in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
yes.
and I am a yes. Robin, thanks again for everything you've done and keep on doing. I appreciate it, believe me.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
We have to go down there to sign something tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
yeah, that year 3, I'd like to get that
What-
called in, and
what
second, I
time?
get that scope back from the
Around noontime?
yeah, anytime you get down there.
3 copies.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
because
I
I was a
haven't
little
signed one, so
over
I gotta come
exuberant
down
for my
and sign two.
copying.
Dan, I'll see you, yeah, Mike, I'll see you guys around 10:30 tomorrow after my first night babysitting. Everybody, good night, have a good one.
Good night,
Okay,
everyone.
have a good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Good night. Bye. Good night.
Okay, where do I go? Yeah, we.